I also have the distinct privilege and pleasure of introducing our special speaker tonight, Ms. Gloria Allred. I'll read her bio, but I know her just a little bit, so I'll share just a personal touch to it. She is quoted as saying, "I start every day with the knowledge that helping people and fighting for justice is my duty, and that nothing worthwhile comes without sacrifice, self-discipline, and courage." Ms. Allred is a founding partner of the law firm Allred, Morocco, and Goldberg. Her firm handles more women's rights cases than any other private firm in the nation and has won hundreds of millions of dollars for victims. Over the course of her 39-year legal career, Ms. Allred has won countless honors for her pioneering legal work on behalf of women's rights and rights for minorities. AMG represents victims who have been discriminated against on account of their sex, race, age, physical handicap, or sexual orientation. She has truly taken our city's mission of putting the most vulnerable people at the center of her work. Her firm also represents victims of AIDS discrimination, sexual harassment, and wrongful termination. Her firm is also well known for its work on behalf of victims in civil rights, rape, child sexual abuse, and murder cases. For these and so many other reasons, recently President Obama introduced Ms. Allred as one of the best attorneys in the country. And I can say, as a young girl growing up in the Midwest, I thought, for those of you who know my story at all, I thought that I was moving out to California to go to law school at UCLA, mostly because of her example. I knew of this woman, Gloria Allred. She was a figure that was on TV. And to be able to say now that I am part of a community and am able to call her a friend is truly a dream come true. To watch her example, how she has fought for generations of women, how she has fought for decades, and even today she's fighting for young women, bringing forward class action lawsuits addressing the absolutely abominable situation facing young women on college campuses and attacking the issue of the epidemic, quite frankly, of sexual assault on college campuses. Her example and her work is unparalleled, and so I'm very excited to introduce Ms. Gloria Allred.
Happy Women's Equality Day, yes! We honor so many women here today, but before we begin, I want each one of you to stand and give yourselves and each other who have come tonight a round of applause for standing up for women's equality. Stand up! If you can. Thank you. All right. You know, Mahatma Gandhi said, and this is the way I start my book, Fight Back and Win, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. So each one of you is committed to being the change you wish to see in the world. And in honor of this 95th anniversary of women's winning the right to vote, the addition of the 19th Amendment suffrage to the United States Constitution, in which women won, not were given, won the right to vote after 73 years. We thank them and we honor them and give those wonderful suffragists a round of applause for their courage. And so many who were not suffragists, but who stood, who as role models for women, and who fought the fight or who stood as role models are not with us. And this is my scarf of many women sheroes. So I want to read some of their names in their honor. We remember them today. Harriet Tubman, Golda Meir, Abigail Adams, remember the ladies, Amelia Bloomer, Babe Dickerson, Susan B. Anthony, Eleanor Roosevelt, Sojourner Truth, and ain't I a woman? Elizabeth Blackwell, Ms. Takamura, Margaret Sanger, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Mary McLeod Bethune, Simone de Beauvoir, Alice Paul, Lucretia Mott, Jeanette Rankin, Margaret Mead, Amelia Earhart, Victoria Woodhull, Emma Goldman, Jane Addams, Susan Leah Flesh Picot, Mary Wollstonecraft, and Lucy Stone, to name just a few. And let me just say that, by the way, I want to present my apologies. My daughter was going to be here, Lisa Bloom, of whom I am, of course, so proud. Unfortunately, she got stuck in New York. She is the legal analyst for the Today Show. She called me at 6 o'clock this morning. Mom, what am I going to do? They need me to stay for another day. I said, I'm going to present my apologies, and you're just going to be here another time, and everybody's going to understand. And somehow, I'll try to think of some words about women's equality that I think you would want me to say, so she's fine. And even though she's not here, I'm going to wish my granddaughter, Sarah Bloom, who just took the bar in New York, and hopefully is soon going to be another attorney. It's her birthday today, Women's Equality Day. And I say, for those who say there is no God, yes, there is, and she is watching, because my granddaughter was born on Women's Equality Day. All right, so let me just say that, of course, the battle waged for at least the minimum of 72 years before we won the right to vote in 1920. From 1848, from the first Women's Rights Convention, to 1920, women sacrificed, they fought, they lobbied, they marched, they picketed, they were spat upon. Many women, like in the UK, who fought for the right to vote, were taken to jail. They were forcibly fed. Some died. One woman threw herself in front of a horse and was killed to illustrate that women are still denied their rights. So no one has ever given us our rights, and no one will ever give us our rights. We have always had to fight to win them, and that's why we honor them today. And of course, our work is still unfinished because we still do not enjoy the passage of the Equal Rights Amendment to the United States Constitution, that equal rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. We have been fighting to win the addition of the Equal Rights Amendment to the United States Constitution since 1923, when it was first proposed by Alice Paul. And we are still fighting to win it. And we have had some reverses, and we have had an unfair limitation put on the end of the Equal Rights Amendment, that is that a time period was put upon it, which has not been put on any other amendment to the United States Constitution, that we had to win 3/4 of the states approving it before a certain time period elapsed. And it did elapse. So we still care about that, and on this Women's Equality Day, we commit to continuing to fight because we need the passage of the Equal Rights Amendment to the United States Constitution. Do you agree? I want to also say that we have so many battles ahead. I mean, it's 2015. We still have a long, long way to go. Just to give you an example, we, of course, you might have heard that I have a small battle going on with Bill Cosby. Very serious battle, and you all know what this means. With more than 40, maybe it's 50, I've lost count, women coming forward, standing up and speaking what they say is their truth about what Mr. Cosby did to them, some of them alleging that they were drugged, some sexually assaulted, some drugged and sexually assaulted. And these are very brave women who are standing up for the critics. And I am very honored to tell you that some of them are with us tonight. I asked them to come, some of my clients. And if I may, for those of them who could stand, I'm just going to ask you to just stand and shout out your name. All right, let's start in the front real quickly. Shout out the name. These are the brave women who have spoken out. Go ahead, Beth. Okay, well, I just need your name. Thank you very much. But I love Beth because she is feisty, and we need more feisty women. Just your name. Just shout out your name. That's it. Lise. That's it. Thank you so much. Your name. Yeah. Never too old to fight. Never too old. In fact, you know, we have the saying in the women's movement, it's unique in that it's the only movement in which the participants become more radical as they get older. Yeah, all right. Ivy knows about that. Okay, go ahead. Wait, we have more. And in the back, wait. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Charlotte. And more. Oh, back here, Colleen. Shout it out, Colleen. No, shout it out, I said. Thank you. Yeah, another one of my brave clients. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Did we miss anybody? No. Oh, we did miss anybody? Any of my clients? Okay, great. Thank you. So, because we always have to remember, you know, this battle is fought by women like you. I can't do it without you. We do it as a team. We work together. Like Mother Jones said, don't agonize, organize. And that's what we have to do. Okay, so we have lots of battles. We have, you know, battles against violence against women. It's really interesting because as I was in the car coming over here, I start, you know, getting a lot of emails. And because just a couple of hours ago, there was an announcement that Ray McDonald, an NFL player, was just indicted, and also Ahmad Brooks, an NFL player, was indicted. Now, I happen to be a little familiar with this case because I represent the victim in this case, and what happened was recently, just to show you how things evolve, I had held a news conference to announce that we were going to seek to have a defamation lawsuit dismissed that had been filed by this former NFL player, Ray McDonald, against my client. Of course, he didn't know when he filed it that she was my client. But anyway, I guess he thought she was just all alone. But anyway, not really, though. He filed it against her, and she was a young woman. She had alleged to law enforcement that she had been sexually assaulted by Ray McDonald. And we stated at a press conference that we did, the California law seeks to protect victims who report to the police what they believe are crimes against them or others, even if no charges are ever filed. Of course, that's meant to encourage reporting by persons who allege they are sexual assault or rape victims to the police. But Mr. McDonald had filed a defamation lawsuit against her, alleging that, essentially that she had filed with the police, and his position, I guess, was that it was false. And no prosecution had ensued at that point. Well, we fought that, and I was very happy to announce recently that Santa Clara Superior Court Judge William Effing agreed with our legal position. He granted our special motion to strike all 5 causes of action in Mr. McDonald's lawsuit, meaning in plain English that we were able to get Mr. McDonald's lawsuit against our client dismissed. And so we felt that, as a result of our victory, we were very happy about that, of course. We felt that really sent a message to NFL players and other celebrities who should now understand that suing persons for defamation who allege to law enforcement that they're victims of crime by NFL players or others, that's going to be a losing strategy for the celebrity, and that the celebrity is going to be punished by the courts for having filed the lawsuit against the person who made accusations to the police. And so the punishment is going to consist of the NFL player's case being dismissed and the losing party, namely the NFL player, being required to pay the prevailing party's attorney's fees and costs related to having to defend against the lawsuit. So that was a few months ago, but now, just a few hours ago, it was taken a step further, because now the district attorney has announced that the grand jury has indicted Ray McDonald alleging rape of an intoxicated person. That's my client. And also, there is now a charge also of misdemeanor battery against Ahmed Brooks as well. So my client is very courageous. We're not providing her name at this point, but she's very courageous, and she is seeking a just outcome of this case. So we are very proud of her. Give her a round of applause so I can tell her you did. Thank you. And Lindsay mentioned all of the Title IX cases we're doing. Of course, a lot of those all over the country. I'm flying around a lot, representing these very brave young college students who are speaking truth to power. They are standing up. Yes, they are. They are standing up against their own colleges and universities. Frankly, something I don't think I would have had the courage to do way back in the cave age when I was a student at the University of Pennsylvania. I don't think I would have had the courage to do it, but they do. And I think they have been inspired by all of you, by people like you, and they've seen that. And now, if they know they have rights under Title IX, that means that they are guaranteed freedom from discrimination in education, in institutions of higher learning or other institutions which receive federal funds, that if, as, and when they are raped or sexually assaulted, their college has a duty to afford them due process. In other words, certain rights come into play, are implicated, and their college has a duty to protect them and to grant them certain rights. And not to try to sweep it under the carpet is my point. And that's it. They are speaking truth to power. We have lawsuits in many colleges and universities. I'll just tell you about one. We filed on November 1st, 2013 against the University of Connecticut in federal court in Hartford on behalf of rape and sexual assault victims who were students or former students of UConn. And our lawsuit alleged that UConn had discriminated against our clients on the basis of their gender and retaliated against them in violation of Title IX. And we sought damages according to proof at trial. We're very happy to announce that we were able to settle this lawsuit on behalf of our named clients, Carolyn Luby, Kylie Angel, Erica Daniels, Rosemary Ritchie, and Sylvania Mokia. This settlement requires the University of Connecticut to compensate our clients in the total amount of $1,285,000. So, we really appreciate UConn's very constructive role and approach, which allowed the settlement to occur at the early stage. And, UConn did acknowledge our client's role in inspiring very important public conversation regarding the issue of sexual violence. And we also believe that our clients played a very vital role in UConn strengthening its policies and procedures for addressing sexual violence. So, Give them a round of applause and all the college students who are fighting for their rights. Now, when we fight for women, we also care about the civil rights of people, whether they're women, whether they're men, but we don't ever want to ignore the fact that there is also a lot of discrimination against other minorities who have been persecuted, like people who are gay, who are lesbian, who are transgender, who are bisexual, and who have been discredited, humiliated, attacked, sometimes victims of violence. And there are those who are very courageous, who stand up for them. And we have been able to fight for women, for marriage equality, and I want to honor my clients who were the first. We were the first in California to announce that we would challenge the ban on marriage equality in California way back in 2004 when they were denied the right to marry the Beverly Hills courthouse. We won the right to marry because of their courage, not only for them, but for many others as well. Please give a round of applause and stand up. Robin Tyler, Diane Olson. So we fight for many people, you know, we fight for individuals who are transgender. You all remember my battle with Donald Trump. When many years ago when, the individual who wanted to be in the Miss Canada, Miss Universe contest, pageant, I should say, and they found out that she was born with a male anatomy, and then they decided that that should exclude her from the pageant. She came down here to Los Angeles from Canada. We held a news conference, and I had a lot to say about that policy of excluding her and what we might do. And lo and behold, Mr. Trump, what a coincidence, decided she should be back in the pageant after we stood up. So give a round of applause for her. And believe me, the battle never ends. We'll have more to say on that in the future, not about that, but. And then, of course, we have to remember and commend all of the brave women in San Diego that I had filed just a few years ago on behalf of Irene McCormick Jackson in 2013. We filed a sexual harassment lawsuit against the mayor of San Diego, Bob Filner, and the city of San Diego, which employed him. And as a result of her speaking out or filing the lawsuit, for every day, for 19 more days, yet another woman stood up and spoke publicly and said, he also sexually harassed me. And as a result of the lawsuit we filed, and as a result of the mediation of our lawsuit, we were able to settle that case for Irene against the city and Bob Filner. He had to step down as mayor. We won for her $250,000. So we're very happy about that. She was as communications director. All right. So this is an example of what women do when they dare to speak out, when they dare to break their silence. But let us know, too, that our work is still not done. For example, I think it was Gloria Allred who may have said, we cannot, have our rights from the skin out until we have our rights from the skin in. So we are still battling to enforce our rights under Roe v. Wade, that U.S. Supreme Court decision which said we have a right to make the decisions about our body, that our liberty encompasses the right to, it's pro-choice, basically, the right to choose, that a woman has a constitutional right to choose abortion, and that right cannot be restricted or prohibited at certain stages of her pregnancy. We know that prior to 1973, many women died or were maimed by illegal abortions. Many hemorrhaged, as I did, from an illegal abortion when it was illegal for a doctor to give one, although not for a woman to receive one. Many hemorrhaged or bled to death. I'm happy I didn't, although I was taken to ICU and packed in ice with 106 fever, almost died. And often these abortions were performed in back alleys and in other unsanitary places by individuals who had no medical training and who did it for the money. So I was one of those women who didn't die, but as I said, almost bled to death. But it was an experience, of course, that I'll never forget. Now, many of us in this room The reason we are so committed to women's rights is because of our own life experiences. Some of us did or did not have this course in college about women's rights. You're benefiting if you do have it. I never had it. But I just dive into my own life experience and know that what we have to do is, rather than turning our anger and our rage inward, which can destroy us, rather than turning to drugs or alcohol or self-destructive actions against ourselves, we need to take that energy and turn it outward to fight for constructive change. So we need to continue to fight to protect our rights. Today, we have approximately 87% of all the counties in the United States. A woman has no access to abortion because doctors and health providers have been terrorized and sometimes murdered. And restriction of this right, of course, particularly hurts the poor and the young, and it shouldn't be tolerated. And so I say that women's blood is going to be on the hands of those who continue to attack this constitutional right to choose abortion. And that no woman or girl should ever be forced to risk their life in order to obtain an abortion. We will not let that happen to our daughters, to our granddaughters, to our mothers, to our sisters, to our aunts. And we are going to stand up in support of Planned Parenthood. We are going to stand up in support of that right. No one is going to force them into mandatory motherhood. No one is going to have the right to decide that they make the decision for them. Women can make that decision. I have confidence in them. All right, so finally, I want to say there's so much more I could talk to you about, but I know that time is going short, and I do want to say this, that as I say in my book, Fight Back and Win, remember that the denial of civil rights is not a small thing. It's an extremely important issue because it's about human dignity, which is everyone's birthright. When that dignity is not respected and when individuals are treated differently, subordinated, or excluded on account of factors over which they have no control, such as their gender, their race, their age, their sexual orientation, or national origin, they and society are irreparably harmed. Freedom, liberty, and equality are fundamental values that every human being should have a right to enjoy. Thank you. Rosa Parks refused to sit in the back of the bus. Susan B. Anthony was arrested for trying to vote. The Holocaust began when the Jewish people in Germany were initially deprived of their civil rights. It escalated into them being deprived of their lives. We must take a stand wherever and whenever someone is denied a basic civil right. Thank you. To those who suffer the daily indignity of discrimination and are treated as second-class citizens or as sexual objects, I say, enough. Don't tolerate it for a single day or even a single minute. You have the power to stop it. You have more power than you believe you have. All you need to do is exercise your power and fight for your right to enjoy equal opportunity under the law. To those women out there who are suffering from sexual harassment on the job, I say, don't put up with it. Ignoring the problem will not make it go away. Even transferring to a new job won't guarantee that you will find a workplace free of harassment. Change does not come overnight. However, in about next year will be 40 years that I've been practicing law, I've witnessed dramatic changes, thank you, that have been substantial in the area of women's rights and minorities' rights, especially in employment law. I believe a glass ceiling still exists where women and minorities can see through to the top, but still can't get there. There's a lot more work to be done. There are cracks in that ceiling, and I believe that some of the cases I've handled have been directly responsible for them. You can help to win more breakthroughs at your workplace, in your town, and your state. Today, there are more women than ever in the legal profession. When I attended law school, only a small percentage of the student body was female. Now, at least half of the graduating lawyers in many law schools are women. There are also more women judges and elected officials. The legal and political landscape is changing. These changes are primarily the result of individuals who felt that they had been shut out of the system because of their gender or race and who had the courage to seek change. Unless there is change, the status quo continues, which is generally not favorable to women and their rights, to minorities and other victimized groups. You can take part in positive, important change. Consider going to law school or contact the National Women's Political Caucus for ideas about how you can run for political office, for ideas, and be appointed to a board, a commission, or an agency, and support other candidates who are committed to improving the rights of women and minorities. Based on the thousands of family law matters that we've been involved with in our many years of practice, I also have firm beliefs about what is necessary for a strong marriage. Equality, fairness, and honest communication are essential for a marriage to last and be successful. It's important that spouses be best friends and equal partners. Generally, dictatorships do not work in marriage, or for that matter, in any other relationship. Isolation from family, friends, and coworkers can be dangerous. If your spouse or intimate partner tries to isolate you, consider this a warning that you may be living with an abusive or potentially abusive partner. If you're living with an abusive partner, get counseling and consider getting out. There is no excuse for abuse, and over time, battering usually escalates in frequency and severity. Batterers and male chauvinists are dangerous to your physical and emotional health. To victims of domestic violence, I say, think of yourself as strong, not weak. Remember the words of Eleanor Roosevelt. Quote, "Women are like tea bags. They never know how strong they are until they get into hot water." Do you agree? End quote. If you're a mother who has had a child outside of marriage, be sure to legally establish paternity as soon as possible. Mothers who don't get their child support on time or in the correct amount shouldn't sit back and wait for the father of their children to do the right thing while their families suffer in silence. Get angry, but use that anger constructively to accomplish your goal. Contact a private attorney or your county DA to help you establish paternity and collect the child support that is owed to your children. District attorneys are mandated by law to help you establish and enforce child support orders. They are not permitted to charge you any attorney's fees for this service. Sometimes the ultimate outcome of a case is not as important as the struggle for justice. If you fight for what you believe is right and speak out publicly about it, raising that issue and generating public discussion might cause change, even if the lawmakers at that time are not ready to enact that change. Creating a climate of opinion that is supportive of change is an important step towards winning it. However, be careful of what you say and seek counsel before you make public statements or leap into the unknown. Throughout my entire career, people in corporate America, my adversaries, and even other lawyers have tried to intimidate me. Good luck to that, right? Okay. And are still trying. It has not always been easy, but I have learned that if you have a firm and a burning commitment to right that wrong, and you are prepared for the battle, then you can overcome intimidation. Remember, if you are generating a strong reaction, you're probably saying something important. I've won many battles in my career by applying certain basic concepts and principles to my life. I start every day with the knowledge that helping people and fighting for justice is my duty, and that nothing worthwhile comes without sacrifice, self-discipline, and courage. I am a lawyer, but you don't have to be one to help to win change. At Rosa Parks' funeral on November 2nd, 2005, then United States Senator Barack Obama reminded us that Ms. Parks had, quote, held no public office. She wasn't a wealthy woman. She didn't appear in the society pages. And yet, when the history of this country is written, it is this small, quiet woman whose name will be remembered long after the names of senators and presidents have been forgotten, end quote. That's right. And that is because she was, as then Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm called her, quote, a heroic warrior for equality, end quote. So I say that you too can be a heroic warrior for equality Even if you're not rich or famous or a lawyer, you too can make the choice to make a difference. Then United States Senator Hillary Clinton, hopefully our next president of the United States. Did I get political? Oh. Reminded us that we too can have what she calls a Rosa Parks moment. Well, I would urge you to have a Rosa Parks moment every day. Challenge yourself and challenge others to stand up for what is right. More than anything, in the face of adversity and injustice, I want you to overcome your fear and be fearless. Find your voice and not be voiceless. Exert your power and not be powerless. I want you to be able to fight back and win justice for yourself, your children, your family, and your community. When you're feeling pessimistic or even hopeless, remember the words of Susan B. Anthony: failure is impossible. And I say there is no defeat in standing up for what is right and fighting injustice. As suffragist Carrie Chapman Catt once said, whenever a just cause reaches its flood tide, whatever stands in the way must fall before its overwhelming power. And I say, in conclusion, speak up, fight back, and seek positive change. Others will follow your lead, and ultimately, you'll come out a winner. I pledge to do exactly that, and to follow the command of Mother Jones. Pray for the dead, and fight like hell for the living. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lindsay. Thank you.
And now you can see why it was essential that she celebrate 95 years of women's suffrage with us. If you're on fire, let's give her a hand. So on behalf of the city of West Hollywood, on behalf of generations of women who have looked to Ms. Allred's example for hope, for inspiration, for that last bit of energy that we need to get across the finish line, we want to present you with this plaque commemorating all of your achievements, commemorating your example, and thanking you for the leadership that you demonstrate in our community and in so many others.